My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. Ben Johnson's press conference wrapped up just a few minutes ago, and I'm going to get into my top takeaways and reactions from the presser. Do want to mention off the top, Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Odunze, and Cole Kmet were all present in the audience for the press conference. I love that sign. Ben Johnson talked about how he's already had multiple conversations with Caleb. I think there's a lot of reason to be excited here, folks. Grade the press conference, A, B, C, D, or F. If you didn't watch it, go watch it. Come back to this video and grade it. But I thought it was pretty awesome. A for awesome, clear communicator, which is where we can start here with my takeaways and reactions. He is very transparent. He's a very clear communicator. He doesn't hesitate really when answering questions at all, to be completely honest. And he's very blunt and to the point, which is what you knew that. Now, he was doing that in a respectful manner, like he wasn't a jackass about it, but he's very honest and very to the point, and he's very optimistic as well. And I like how transparent he was with some of these answers. Why did you go back last year? Well, wanted to give it another crack at a Super Bowl run. Felt like I needed another year to really get ready. Said he spent some time last offseason to kind of prepare himself more for the next cycle, to feel like he'd be more ready this time around. I like that he looked directly at the players. I thought this was a strong moment in the presser in his opening statement. He said when it comes to the players, he looked directly at Caleb and the guys and said, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And what have we heard about the players throughout this season, throughout the failures? There's no accountability in the building. We don't have a leader. Well, get ready because this guy is coming in guns a-blazing, setting a standard for what he wants to see in this football team. So liked how clear he was as a communicator, did not struggle to answer questions whatsoever. So I think that's a very positive sign for his communication skills. Number two, he clearly wanted the job. There were all kinds of theories. Maybe he doesn't like the power structure. Maybe he doesn't like this, doesn't like that. He said on multiple occasions how much he believes in the people in this building. He mentioned George, Kevin, Ryan. Now, he's not going to go up there and say George McCaskey's a loser, but it did seem authentic. He said, I think something that really stood out to me is he said going into this season, the 2024 season, he said, A, he felt like the Bears were a sleeping giant, and B, he said he was more worried about facing this team than he was the Vikings or the Packers. Now, he followed that up with saying, the defense had given us some struggles in the past, so kudos to Matt Eberflus on that one. But he just pointed to the talent on both sides of the ball. That's something he mentioned multiple times as well. He said this roster is loaded with talent, and obviously we got to add some more. So I don't think this was some I'm just going to go where I get paid the most money. Honestly, Vegas probably would have offered more. He looks at this situation where he can win, and he can win right away. Obviously, the quarterback's a big part of that. We're going to talk about Caleb and the offense specifically here in just a moment. But first, got to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is Game Time. You want to get tickets to go watch the Bears next season? Once the schedule drops, be sure to do so with Game Time. He brought up the Cubs in his press conference. Want to go check out the Cubbies in a couple of months. White Sox, you got the Bulls and Blackhawks going on right now. The big game, you know what the big game is. It's just around the corner as well. Get your tickets with Game Time. Toggle on Game Time picks, which will filter out the fluff of thousands of tickets when you're searching for tickets to a certain event. And it's going to kind of narrow down your search for different price points within the venue. Based on your budget, you'll be able to find tickets in a timely manner. You could also toggle on all-in pricing while you're surfing for tickets. That way you don't get hit with random charges at the end when you check out. You'll know exactly in real time what you are paying for and how much you are paying. Views from the seats, super deals, which are the best bang for your buck, curated deals, event cancellation policy. Game Time does it better than anyone else, and you get your tickets in a timely manner. Go check out your favorite sporting teams, concerts, comedy shows today. Get your tickets right now with Game Time. Download the app. Use promo code ChatSports when you create an account. That's code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase only. Terms apply. Check out Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. I think it's very clear that Caleb Williams, he may not be the only reason why Ben Johnson is here, but he is a primary one. I thought a good moment in the presser for him as well is he said, look, Caleb, everybody talks about the quarterback, and he's a big reason, but it's going to take more than you. And he looked at Caleb when he said that. Again, back to the communication, looked at the other players as well. But he was also asked later on, when you were comparing to other jobs or teams that were interested in you, how much did the quarterback weigh in? And he smiled and kind of gave a wink and said, having a quarterback helps. And obviously, and that's why the whole Raiders thing never really made sense, because they don't have a talent like Caleb Williams under center. They don't have someone of this potential that can lead that team. The Bears do. Ben Johnson recognized that. It's why the reports from a couple months ago of him being interested in this job last year, potentially, if it had opened up, because he wanted to draft Caleb Williams. So he has a vision for how he wants to build this offense with Caleb at the helm, and that's where we can transition here to next. And I think this is probably the most interesting on-field stuff that was discussed in this presser. He said it's not going to look like Detroit. We are going to tear this offense down to the studs and rebuild it around this quarterback and the personnel we have with their skill sets in mind. That's what a good coach does. You don't plug in a system just completely based on what you did before. You build around the talent you have. Now, obviously, you're going to have principles and concepts that you like, but what does Caleb do well? What does DJ Moore do best with the ball in his hands? How can you unlock Cole Kmet, which for whatever reason Shane Waldron and Thomas Brown couldn't do? That is how he's going to build this thing, and that is what an innovative offensive mind does. You don't just have a system of plays. Like, this was Matt Nagy's problem. Matt Nagy just had Andy Reid's offense and just wanted to force feed it into Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields. Didn't work because you have to coach around the players you have. And especially a young quarterback, like even big picture, if you have certain advanced concepts in mind, at first, you might have to simplify things. You might have to find easier answers. So I really appreciated him saying that, because I know the Dan Orlovskis of the world, Ben's going to have to make Caleb play on time and instruction. Obviously, he's going to have to get better at those things, but Ben's telling you today, hey, I'm going to build a system around this quarterback. That is what a good coach does. So that fired me up. He said him and Caleb are going to spend a lot of time together in the spring. And he was blunt. He was like, look, the only way I think this works is if the quarterback and the play caller have the same vision, is basically what he was saying. So that fired me up, man. They're going to spend a lot of time together. Obviously, it'll ramp up in OTAs and in training camp, but they're going to get some work in the spring as well, he said. So excited about that. And again, I'm really excited that those players were there. I expected Caleb and some of the guys to be there, but to me, the optics of that is very, very important. All right, subscribe to the channel. We're just beginning here. Coaching staff hires, free agency, draft, rumors, other updates. We have it all covered here on a daily basis. I dropped 3 videos yesterday if you want to check those out. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. We will continue to bang out content on the Chicago Bears. Okay, I like this as well, because as much as he talked highly about the roster and believes in Ryan Poles and all that stuff, he was asked about the offensive line. He was like, yeah, I've already talked with Ryan. We know we got to get better there. No reason to be vague, no reason to dance around the question. Like, yeah, we need to be better up front. And Ryan and I are going to work together to make that happen. I'll be curious to see, and he talked about this as well in terms of assessing the roster, who stays, who goes. Obviously, it's, Darnell Wright's going to be in this group. Who else is, though? Braxton Jones, 1 year left on his contract. Is he the starting left tackle? Do you bring back a Tevin Jenkins, a Coleman Shelton, a Matt Pryor? What are their roles if they come back? I could see Matt Pryor coming back and being like your top interior backup, something like that. Coleman Shelton could be a placeholder center depending on who's available. We'll have to wait and see. But I would expect the Bears to take a swing at a Trey Smith potentially, a Ryan Kelly, maybe even a Ronnie Stanley if they want to upgrade at left tackle. So, I just appreciate the transparency. You don't have to sell state secrets here, but hey, what do you think about the offensive line? Yeah, it's got to get better. I mean, that's pretty. And by the way, when he was talking about Caleb, he was like, I've already talked to him about things he needs to work on and improve at. He's not dancing around this. He's not, a coach's job is, yes, you need to protect the players, but there's a line there, right? He doesn't need to go up there and be like, yeah, Caleb sucked as a rookie. But, he can go up there and acknowledge, it was an up-and-down rookie year, which is a phrase he mentioned, and I've already talked to him about things he needs to work on. Yeah, the offensive line isn't good enough. It needs to be better. We need to get better there. Like, I just like it. Like, it's just refreshing. It's nice. Matt Eberflus was scared to talk about, like, irrelevant injuries at times. It's like, come on, bro. Just tell us what the fuck is going on. So it was nice. It was refreshing. Just some final thoughts here. In his introductory presser, when he was talking about the NFC North, he said, I wanted to be in this division. I respect the coaches and teams in this division. It's the toughest division in football. And he also added this. I kind of liked beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. To me, that's not really – he's not trying to intentionally jab LaFleur. He's sending a message to the fan base. I understand the importance of the rivalry with the Packers. That is so nice to hear because it's true. That, to me, that's goal number one every year. How do you beat the Packers? Then it's the division. It's all the other stuff after that, the bigger goals. But I really liked how he said that. And one last thing before we get out of here. I want to make sure I get this right. He was asked about his definition of accountability because he brought up accountability and integrity are two pillars of what he believes in. And, someone asked, like, hey, that was a word that was used a lot around here last year, that there wasn't enough of it. He said, to me, accountability means this, quote, we're going to do what we say we're going to do, and we're going to be who we say we're going to be. And if we fall short of those standards, there has to be consequences. There weren't consequences last year. Tyreek Stevenson's messing around, dancing, and pointing at the crowd. He missed 2 series the next drive. That's it. Next game, that's it. He should have been benched for a game. Like, this guy is going to set a standard. What did Caleb Williams say on the St. Brown Brothers podcast? I want someone who challenges us, set a standard, and doesn't fall short of that standard. This guy, through one press conference, seems like someone who is going to do just that. And by the way, the Packers thing was nice. Can we get a little FGB going here? Shout out to Ben Johnson for understanding and appreciating the importance of beating the Packers for the Chicago Bears. It is critical. It is the most, like I said, it's step one every year. How do you beat this team? So FGB, shout out to Ben Johnson. I was really impressed with that press conference. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be back with more coverage here on the channel. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down, FGB. Welcome to Chicago, Ben Johnson.